What is up, guys? It is time to discuss the most entertaining fighters in the UFC, in and outside of the cage. Some of these guys are must-see TV, and it doesn't matter if you like them or you hate them, all right? Some of these guys you're going to pay attention to, regardless of how you feel about them. Some have really underrated personalities, and some are only entertaining in the cage, and of course, there's some guys that are just dry as fuck. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The most entertaining fighters in the UFC. I'm going to go ahead and put O'Malley in fight style only. O'Malley's going to go in fight style only because let's be honest, man, this guy has a whole YouTube channel. He puts himself out there. He uploads weekly 40-minute videos. He's on podcasts with Andrew Schultz and he's on Rogan, but it's just like O'Malley just doesn't have a good personality. Let's be honest, dude. Fights themselves, great. Yeah, high stakes. That definitely helps. But even at the press conference, this guy has nothing to offer. Again, I've said this a million times. When you see O'Malley, you expect him to be a larger-than-life kind of person. He looks the part, but he isn't that guy, all right? You're not that guy, pal. Like Muhammad Usman, who in my opinion is an A-tier most entertaining fighter in the UFC. So we're going to put Muhammad Usman in the A tier. And there's Chito Vera. I'm going to put Chito Vera in the underrated tier. Very underrated personality. Down to earth, bro. He has it all, man. He's got a great family. He's healthy as fuck. Perfect diet. Again, down to earth. Doesn't even try. Just seems like a really chill guy. Fight style is there, just like O'Malley is. And it also helps that he's going to be the guy to take O'Malley out, or at least I hope so. So that already off the bat makes him very entertaining. Up next, we're going to put Magny in the dry as fuck tier. Okay? Dude, I don't give a fuck if Magny is like the good guy in the Ian Garry saga, all right? I know some of you guys are going to be saying, whoa, what do you mean, bro? Magny's so entertaining, man. What are you saying, man? No, he's not, all right? You're not watching his interviews. You're not glued to the screen when this guy fights. You'd actually rather be asleep. Most boring fight style in the UFC. Clinch fest, stink fest every time. Even if he gets dominated, his fights suck. It's bad enough to the point to where even if this guy is on a card fighting someone exciting, you're just like, oh, but it has to be against Magny. And I know I'm going to get a lot of you guys in the comments saying, whoa, man. You're just such a casual, bro. You don't think Magny's entertaining? Shut the fuck up, all right? Magny's not entertaining, all right? I'm just putting him in there to let you guys know what it looks like to be the least entertaining fighter in the UFC. And to contrast him, bro, I'm gonna put Ian Garry in the must-see TV tier. Because let's be honest, bro, Ian Garry is a walking, talking news story at this point. You can't have an Ian Garry interview without there being some kind of controversy springing from it, all right? He's a content creator's dream. His lifestyle, doesn't even have to talk, bro. His lifestyle in and of itself is like a news story, all right? You hate to see this guy win his fight, so you're going to be rooting against him. He's on the come up. He's a guy rising through the ranks, young, 26. A fraud check, maybe. It's always fun to see people get fraud checked. Again, it's like we don't really know how good he is, but he looks amazing, to be honest, but maybe he's not as good as some people think he is, so that in and of itself is something else that's entertaining. He shit talks people. He's annoying. He's screechy. And again, it's like he's obnoxious, but you're just going to watch no matter what. And we're dying to see the UFC 296 press conference. We're dying to see this guy fight. I care more about Ian Garry's fight than I do about Colby Covington and Leon Edwards. Now, I might be jumping the gun there a little bit, but let's be honest, bro. Like, right now, I'm thinking about Ian Garry's next fight. Ian Garry fight week. Straight up, bro. Even if you don't like him, you can root against him. That's just as fun, if not more fun. And you know why that's if not more fun? Because I know a thing or two about how fun it can be to root against someone. Adesanya, must-see TV. Again, one of the most boring fight styles in the UFC, but he's one of the very few where even if he has very stinky fights, it's like every single time you're going to have an entertaining outcome. If he stinks it up, you get to talk about how overrated he is, all right? If he dominates someone and knocks out your favorite fighter, it's like the lowest of the low. Izzy does a freaking anime dance on your favorite fighter's grave, which is just so hard to watch. But hey, without those low moments, like him knocking out Whitaker, we wouldn't get the highest of highs. With Alex Pereira knocking his ass out in the 5th round at UFC 281, of course, we wouldn't get to see Strickland. We wouldn't be as happy about Strickland beating Izzy if it weren't for Izzy's KO against Alex Pereira in the fight prior. And he might rob your favorite fighter. So you'll never let his fan base hear the end of it, all right? Because we count robberies as well. So it's like no matter the outcome of an Adesanya fight, even if it sucks, bro, we're going to be talking about it forever, all right? You can't wait to see this guy at a press conference. You can't wait to see him embarrass himself and put out these cringy lines. All right. You can't wait to see what he's posted on his Instagram wearing some silly outfit, right? But at the end of the day, man, he's must-see TV. When Izzy was fighting, when he was active, this guy would give us 4 entertaining fight buildups per year. All right. So put some respect on Adesanya for being entertaining. Conor McGregor, A tier. I'm putting Conor at the A tier because, I mean, come on, dude. Fight style, underrated fight style. Like, people know he's entertaining. He's must-see TV, but, like, this guy has never had a boring fight. He comes out there to knock his opponents out, or he gets dominated in the process. But, yeah, Conor's fight style is there. I talked about O'Malley, how he's super dry. It's like you expect O'Malley to be this larger-than-life persona. You expect him to have charisma. Conor actually has it. If a Conor interview drops, and there aren't many of them, but I'll actually sit and listen to the whole thing, okay? Whereas there are a million O'Malley interviews. I'm not interested at all right? On to the next guy, Shavkat Rakhmonov. The only reason why Conor's not in must-see TV anymore, in my opinion, is just because he's like half retired. So how entertaining can you really be when you're not really giving us a whole lot to talk about? The only thing that we're really discussing with Conor, because he doesn't do a lot of media, has been a little vocal in the media throughout the past couple of days. But outside of that, it's like Michael Chandler, and that's it. Are you going to fight Michael Chandler? Is he coming back for UFC 300? That's the talk, and that's kind of it. Feels like he's retired. Just like John Jones, who, in my opinion, is like, he's dry as fuck, but I guess I'll say fight style only just because there's always an allure of him losing or winning. But the reason why I'm not even going to put him in the fight style only right now is because he's basically boxed himself out of the fight game. He said, Stipe Miocic, or I'm not fighting, all right? And if you're relinquishing yourself to fight a guy that no one gives a fuck about you fighting because you're not going to be fighting the actual killers in your division, especially when you're the GOAT and we want to see him actually have a challenge, well, then who cares? It's like, even if he has a good performance against Stipe, no one wants to see it. The only people that are interested in it are John Jones stans because they want him to get a free win. But that's kind of what it looks like. This guy hardly does media. He hardly does interviews. He gives us things to talk about, but it's not actually like him. It's more of he goes out there and does some crazy shit. And we haven't had that in a while anyway. So, yeah, man, John Jones, ever since he relinquished himself to an old man Stipe that no one gives a fuck about, he's just not really relevant anymore, in my opinion. Like, he's not a heavyweight right now. He's in the retirement division, along with Stipe Miocic. But you know what? I'm actually going to put Stipe Miocic in the underrated tier. I'm going to put some respect on his name, and I'll put Jan Blachowicz in there too. And this is why. Stipe and Jan have like crafty elements of being entertaining, right? Jan Blachowicz is not going to give you gems on the mic. He's not going to trash talk. He's not even the most entertaining fight style to watch. Very skilled, still entertaining. But you see this guy on Unbedded, and the comment section is flooded with, man, it's such a shame Jan doesn't get promoted more, right? And they're crafty with it when that's the case, when like they're producing the wholesome moments on Embedded, and the comment section is flooded with Jan Blachowicz wholesome things, and Stipe Miocic as well. You'll see him on Embedded, and he's like messing around with his buddies from the firehouse. He's cracking silly jokes, like he's showing like a serious, not a serious side, but like a whole side of his personality that we never see, because when he gets in front of a mic, it's like this guy looks like he doesn't want to be there. He's salty as hell. He's not there for the bullshit, but you see him on Embedded, and he's just a jokester. So Stipe Miocic and Jan Blachowicz, they're crafty with how entertaining they are, to be honest. Volkanovski, he's my favorite fighter, okay? He's my favorite fighter, but it's like I can only watch so much Cooking with Volk, all right? Or Fishing with Volk, straight up. I'd rather listen to an O'Malley interview than a Volk interview. I mean, to be honest, the only time I want to see a Volk interview is like right after he fights, directly after he fights, within a week, or within a week before he fights. Or maybe if it's the build-up, I guess I'm interested in seeing him talk about his next opponent, because he always has that like chip on his shoulder, I guess. But, if he goes on a podcast and he's talking about anything else, it's just, no disrespect to Volkanovski. He's literally my favorite fighter, but I mean, come on, man. Like, the guy's not that entertaining. He's pretty much just a meathead who loves to train. That's why he's so good. He's just obsessed with MMA, and that's totally okay. I love to see him fight, but as far as being like this, really outgoing guy that gives us a lot of things to talk about, the only thing we're focusing on is his career, his fights, and that's it. So let's get on to the next guy. Jamal Hill, I'm going to put in the underrated tier. Honestly, bro, if you're into the saltiest type of guys, if you're into like guys that are just salty as fuck, you say anything bad about him, he's going to make a 30-minute response on his Twitter. All right. You say you post a photo of him getting clipped, he's going to make a 30-minute analytical video on how he rolled with the punch. Okay. Jamal Hill's the saltiest fighter on the face of the earth. Even more so these days because the Pereira fans are shitting all over him and telling him that he shouldn't be confident at all, which is just crazy to me. But it's funny as hell because Jamal Hill's like the funniest guy to say that to, because you already know he's going to be clapping back tenfold, bro. So Jamal Hill, like, I think he's actually underratedly entertaining. We all kind of think he's entertaining because, it's like sometimes he'll give an interview and he looks like he doesn't want to be there. He looks like he could care less. He's too cool for school. He's always offering that energy. But when it's about Alex Pereira or his next opponent, he talks about shitting on them and how he wants to prove all the haters wrong. He's like, I care more about rubbing it in everyone's face than I care about like beating him just to beat him. And I love that shit from Jamal Hill. If you're looking for a guy that's just salty as hell, I would say Jamal is up there. Joe Pyfer, who was also helping Jamal Hill corner Brendan Allen. If you're looking for a guy that's just pissed off at life, hates everything, and has a massive chip on his shoulder and is going to go on a crazy rant, all right, he's just going to go off, Joe Pyfer's your guy. Must-see TV when it comes to Mac Life Media Day interviews, all right? He gave one of the most fucking fiery speeches. He's got like the hungry man's energy. He's just starving to get a bag, of course, and he's a hungry guy as well. And he'll let you know. And he's not there to fuck around. So Joe Pyfer and Jamal Hill, part of the Salty Brigade. Alex Pereira, you know what, dude? I'm going to put Alex Pereira in the fight style only. Oh, man. Like, I get it that he taps into the joke, but it's okay to be fight style only. My favorite fighter is fight style only, Volkanovski. So I know some of you guys are going to be salty right now because I'm putting Yuri Prohaska. I'm putting Yuri Prohaska in the A or the underrated tier. Now, I get it. Like, the whole chumma thing is like, okay, I'm fucking over it, all right? His fans spamming the comment sections with Eastern Island heads. The whole Shama thing, like, listen, man, that shit's gotten old, all right? And his fight style is great. The guy seems like a really cool guy. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's got a great social media, so maybe I should bump him up higher, but like, you're not listening to his interviews. And I know you're not listening to his interviews because they're boring as hell. Like, have you ever sat through a whole 40-minute Alex Pereira interview with the translations? Unless you're, someone that speaks Portuguese, you're not going to sit through it. Okay? Even when he's talking about Izzy, unless it's at the press conference itself, I just couldn't care less. Like, I want to see him fight. He's a really entertaining fighter. But he just doesn't have a lot to talk about. I know some of you guys are not going to like that and say, whoa, what do you mean? Pereira's literally the most entertaining guy on the mic ever. But he's not, okay? Yuri Prohaska is more entertaining on the mic. A part of that is because he speaks English, but, the guy is a complete radical when it comes to his lifestyle. And I fucking like that about Yuri Prohaska, all right? He literally, yes, he doesn't do a lot of media. Yes, he'll go on a hiatus. But because Yuri Prohaska has such a energy about him on fight week, like, this guy literally moves the constellations, all right? The fucking earth revolves around Yuri Prohaska on fight week because of how much mana is emitting from his head, all right? Yuri Prohaska, given how present he is, how in tune with the world and the universe he is, anywhere he walks, it's like there's a storm brewing over him, lightning coming out of the clouds, all right? Wind entering the room, like a gust of wind when he enters a room. And he shuts that shit down just based on how epic and focused he is. And he's just got this intense energy. And of course, it helps being the pound for pound most entertaining fighter on earth. Pereira's up there being one of the most entertaining fighters. But, even though Pereira does more media, even though he's got a better Instagram account, like, I love watching Alex post videos of him, like, hitting the pads, wholesome moments with Glover, You know what? He has wholesome moments with Glover. You know what? I think that's enough to bump him up, bro. I'm bumping him up due to the wholesome moments with Glover. You know, it's funny as hell when Glover fucks with him. So I'll put Alex Burr up there. You know, he's too wholesome for me to leave in the fight style only. Volk is wholesome too, but you know, he's not got the craziest personality. I actually kind of like Alex, so I'm gonna put him up there. He just looks like a cool guy. All right. Sometimes just based on the way they look, they're gonna be put in the underrated tier. Shavkat Rakhmonov, I'm gonna put him in the middle. I kind of want to say, well, obviously fight style only, to be honest. Like, how could we not say fight style only? Shavkat Rakhmonov, if this guy never spoke a word, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't care. I'm not listening to his media interview. I guess he does speak since I've heard about the whole Lorosenko thing, and he laughed about it. So there's a Shavkat moment for you, but come on, like, you're never going to listen to a Shavkat Rakhmonov interview. I'm assuming he's dry as fuck. Yeah, so shout out to Shavkat. Very entertaining fighter, but he's not that entertaining, bro. All right. Islam Makhachev is in the underrated tier. I get it. Like, maybe he isn't that good of a trash talker, but he gets in people's heads, man. He got under Volkanovski's skin just by talking about how he was short and how is this guy gonna, Australians don't wrestle, brother, they don't wrestle, brother, right? And he's talking about Charles being a quitter, being a tapper, and I fucking love that shit, dude. And he only does a couple of interviews per year. Maybe he does more in Russian that I don't see, but I can't wait to see an Islam Makhachev interview just because of his smug, cocky attitude. It makes me laugh. Like, it makes me hyped to see his fights. And his fight style is entertaining too, because I believe that he's the best fighter on earth right now. So, Islam Makhachev, underrated tier. You're going to watch this guy fight. Maybe you can't stand him. Maybe you really want to see him lose. But I actually think he has an underrated personality. It's just that he doesn't show it that often. So I'm putting Makhachev up there. Khamzat Chimaev, I'll say fight style only. Like, he's a Dubai influencer at this point. Like, if you want to see someone with a travel page in Dubai and you want to see Khamzat posting stacks of cash on a buffet table, a breakfast table in a hotel, a flashy lifestyle, check him out on Instagram. But as far as interviews, you're not going to get anything from Khamzat. Super dry. His fight style is entertaining. I'll give him that. But, like, come on. Khamzat, like, smash everybody, but you're just a fraud at this point. So whatever. You may not like that, but what my point is that he's not the guy that I thought he was, right? He's not the Mike Tyson of grappling and MMA. He gasses out easily. His fight style is the only thing that's entertaining about him at this point. He's lost his luster. All right. Tony Ferguson is going to be must-see TV. All right. The Goggins shenanigans, the weird Instagram stories, the weird song choices. You know, I don't even know what kind of music Tony likes. He's like, he's into like this EDM, like 90s retro EDM stuff. He's into like skibadoo bop, beat bop music. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. He likes that beat bop song. Tony's a weird motherfucker. All right. Tony's a weird dude. But I love Tony. We all love Tony. His interviews are classics, every single one of them. Must-see TV. Doesn't matter who it's with. He's so delusional, but it's just gem after gem after gem after gem. His fights are great. He's got an entertaining fight style. Of course, with the tragic decline, it kind of makes us want to see his fights even more, or makes us not want to see them. But either way, it makes you feel something. All right. Tony and his career makes you feel something. All right. So everything about Tony's awesome. All right, except for the fact that he doesn't want to retire, but that kind of makes it even juicier. It's like, you know, you want to make a rant video about it. So it's also good for me as a content creator. All right. Anthony Smith. I'm putting Anthony Smith in the, you know what? I'm putting Anthony Smith in the A tier, bro. Like, listen, it's not every time he opens his mouth he gives us something to talk about, but he is really delusional. It's like we're so invested in watching this guy fight at this point because we want to see him get destroyed, or if he wins, it's like something that's going to make us laugh. It's like a meme. It's time to celebrate. Maybe he can fluke his way to a belt. But, you know, listen, if you watch the Believe You Me podcast, most of the time Smith is chill. He's cool. And I like Anthony Smith, man. And I like when he puts his foot down and shit talks people too, because he knows these days that if he says anything that's borderline delusional, there's going to be 100 content creators talking about it the next day. So I like Anthony Smith. I'll say A tier just because he's like a meme at this point, all right? And you really want to see him fight because of it. Bobby Green. I'm going to say Bobby Green is A tier as well. A lot of guys are going to be in the A tier and must-see TV tier next, all right? We've gotten all the underrated ones and the boring ones out of the way. Bobby Green, A tier. I'm surprised he's not more popular than he is. Like, his interviews are entertaining on Fight Week. He's got an unhinged personality. His fight style's epic. Yes, he doesn't have that one classic win like Nate Diaz did for a guy that's never got really close to a belt, and that's kind of what sets him apart from these other iconic UFC legends to never win a belt. But he's really entertaining in the cage. Flashy as hell, talks shit to his opponents in their faces, in the cage, high volume style. All right, likes to go in there, stand and bang. And again, he's got a good personality. So I'm putting Bobby Green in the A tier. Tom Aspinall. All right, where am I going to put Tom Aspinall? I'm going to go ahead and say underrated personality. Okay? He's just really down-to-earth, wholesome, weird sometimes. You had a very weird moment with Nina Drama, of course. But listen, I think he was just trying to just create some kind of interesting moment. Kind of fell on its face. But it is what it is, man. Aspinall is a good interview. Like, what other heavyweights have good personalities aside from him and Derek Lewis for the most part, right? Jilton Almeida, I guess Stipe's underrated, but he's basically retired. Jones, not really. Gane, I mean, Gane's just someone that has, I don't know, like, Gane's just a cool guy in general, but you're not going to watch a Gane interview. You're going to watch an Aspinall interview. You're going to listen to it. And his fight style is must-see TV, knocking people out or subbing them in the first couple of minutes. So, of course, he's entertaining. Benoit St. Denis, I'm going to go ahead and say underrated. Now, this is why. Have I listened to a Benoit St. Denis interview? He actually speaks some English. I've only listened to like 5 minutes of the interview that he did with Ariel Helwani. Maybe I'll have to listen to it again when I have more time, but this guy's a motivation. He's an inspiration, all right? He's like the biggest Chad on the planet. He served his country. He's defeating the stereotypes of what it means to be a Frenchman these days. And he's pound for pound top 3 most entertaining fighters in the sport. He's my second favorite fighter in general. I don't know what it is about Benoit St. Denis, but the guy's just inspiring. Like, literally, dude is inspiring. Biggest Chad in the UFC by far, in my opinion. Sean Strickland, I'm going to put him in the must-see TV, especially now that he's a champion. The interviews, it's like, you know, I'm not listening to the 50-minute Nina Drama interviews because once you've heard a Strickland 20-minute rant, you've kind of heard them all. Not really, though. It's not like Colby Covington. Colby Covington, I'm probably going to put in like the... I don't even know where to put Colby. I guess I'll put him A tier, but it's a shtick, and I'm kind of over it. Like, he's at the bottom of the A tier, in my opinion. Sean Strickland's a breath of fresh air, and I feel like Colby is less entertaining these days because of someone like Sean Strickland, who's just himself. Yes, he's unhinged. Yes, he's a crazy man, but he's a champ these days, so we're really invested into seeing him fight. He just beat Izzy. If he has a beef with someone, it's really entertaining because Sean just says it how it is. All right, he doesn't bite his tongue on anything. And Colby, outside of the nicknames, I mean, even the Submission Radio interviews are getting old. I'm not watching them anymore. You guys listening to the Submission Radio interviews anymore? I've heard it all from this guy, especially because the welterweight division has had the same faces in it for the past 10 years. So I'm going to hear him call Edwards Scissorhands or Leon Edwards, Leon Scott for the millionth time. It is funny. The Leon Scott thing never gets old. And Colby's good at press conferences, but he doesn't even have witty trash talk. Like, I understand it's just shtick, but he hardly does media. And the press conference that Colby will do is once a year. He's like Yuri. He takes a whole 1.5 year hiatus. So how entertaining can you really be? So, yeah, he's just not, again, he's not like a real raw guy, and you'll never be in the must-see TV category unless you are somewhat real. I know Ian Garry is delusional. I know Adesanya is totally cringe, and I know he tries hard, but he's not putting on a shtick, essentially. Maybe he is. Is he, again, with the whole, like, representing 50 different cultures is certainly something that would say otherwise, but you guys get my point, okay? You guys get my point. I just think Colby's getting a little bit old, but I understand that compared to 99% of fighters, he is must-see TV, all right? It's just that I can't put him on the Strickland level or the Tony level. Bryce Mitchell. I'm going to put Bryce Mitchell in the A tier, okay? Bryce Mitchell, epic, based farmer. All right. Literally has an excellent diet as well. Underrated diet Bryce Mitchell has. Okay. Fight style. I don't know, man. So maybe I'm going to put him in the A tier. Okay. Fight style is a little stinky at times. Now, again, I can appreciate grappling, but let's not shit ourselves. Let's not fuck with ourselves. Okay. It's not that entertaining. Okay. Bryce Mitchell has great interviews. All right. He has interesting beliefs. Don't agree with all of them, but they're certainly interesting and they're fun to listen to. He's good at press conferences. I'll put him A tier. I'll put him A tier. Next up, we have Charles Oliveira in the fight style only tier. All I'm saying is that his interviews are dry as fuck, okay? I know a lot of Charles fans are going to have their panties in a bunch. Just be honest with yourselves. You're not sitting through a Charles Oliveira interview, no matter who it's with, unless it's a fight week where he's facing someone like Islam Makhachev, or to be honest, if it's the media day, all right, Wednesday before a press conference, like you'll listen to it. But even at the press conference, the guy doesn't really have a whole lot to say unless Makhachev's out there shit talking him. His fight style, again, entertaining as hell. Top 3 pound for pound most entertaining fighters in the UFC. Like if you want to make a good documentary, you can make one on Charles Oliveira. But as far as the guy's personality, it's just like, come on, man. It's not really anything to talk about. All right. So that's it. The most entertaining fighters in the UFC. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Until next time.